This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Anthony Peterson. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and yourself?
I'm very good, thank you. Back in action, Washington, D.C. this Saturday against Saul Corral. How much are you looking forward to getting back in the ring?
Oh man, I'm looking forward to being back in the ring because it's been a long time. You know, it's been August 14th, and before that it was 2.5 years, and before that it was 2 years, and before that it was 17 months. So yes, I'm very, very, very passionate, very, just determined and very just anxious to get in there.
What have been the factors behind the inactivity? Because the talent's always been there for you, but you haven't been busy enough perhaps in the last 5 years.
Just bad management, the way that the boxing game works, and some injuries on my behalf. It's just been a lot of bad, bad card dealing. But I will say everything happens for a reason because it put me in the position that I'm in now. I wouldn't be able to go to LA from DC by myself to sign Freeway Rick Ross, who's in the boxing game now. I actually signed him to be my advisor, and we work together now. And it's a beautiful combination.
Just tell us a little bit about that. Did you already know Ricky before, and how did you guys come together?
We came together through the likes of Serafina. Serafina is my homegirl. She definitely is. If there's any person out there that wanted to see me do good and see my career blossom, it is her. She definitely cared about me as if I was her child, her boyfriend, her friend, her husband, or whatever. She really cared about me, and it's unfortunate we couldn't get our business together as far as her being my manager, but we still friends, and she still pushed me in the right direction for my career to go the way it's about to go. So I give all props to Serafina for making it happen.
Yeah, a lot of love for Serafina on this channel as well. We know her pretty well. It also, I read in the press release that your brother, Lamont, is going to be the head trainer in the corner this weekend. Is that a permanent arrangement?
Yeah, that's a permanent arrangement. Me and Lamont, we made that permanent August 14th when I performed in Atlanta. I scored a 6-round victory. And we've been working, but he's been my coach since the day I was born. So, this is something that's just, it's just solidified now. That's it.
Tell us a little bit about your bond, because your kind of backstory is pretty well known. I mean, you lived it, but we've all read about it or heard about it over the years, and how you came up together, how tough it was for you guys. What's the bond like between you?
Our bond is people don't know that me and him lived together for 10.5 years in the projects together, and we never had an argument.
Wow. When
Lamont beat Amir Khan, we went back to the projects that night. When Lamont lost to Timothy Bradley, we went back to the projects that night. When Lamont lost to Lucas Matisse, we went back to the projects that night. When Lamont fought Victor Ortiz, we went back to the projects that night. When Lamont fought Kendall Hawk, we went back to the projects that night. When Lamont fought Dury John, we went back to the projects that night. We didn't leave the project where we was at until Lamont fought Danny Garcia, which was Lamont fought him in April 2015. Lamont left the projects in January 2015. True story.
Wow. So you guys have always been very close. What prompted that move out of the projects in the end?
I guess I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, that it was a worldwide stage coming as far as PBC cameras. I guess the cameras didn't want to see us there. You know what I mean? Because it was ESPN, HBO, all those guys was coming to where we were staying. They was looking like, this where y'all live at? Like, really? We were like, yeah, this is where we stay. We stay together, like right here. On the front line, wasn't in the backyard, wasn't around the corner. We was right there in the trenches, like right there. A notorious neighborhood called the Big 30 in Southeast DC, Washington. And my brother stayed there for 10.5 years.
Wow.
And came out without a scratch.
That's very impressive. You guys, when you first hit the scene, a lot of seasoned observers figured you as the better prospect of the two, and certainly the bigger puncher. He's been a world champion at 2 different weights. Because you've only lost once and you've performed well, the ability's there. What's gone wrong, if you like? There's still time, but up till now, why haven't you reached the same heights?
A variety of things. Like I said, bad management, and just me not speaking out. And a lot is my fault because in this boxing world, you cannot just sit on the bench and just work hard and say, okay, I'm just gonna let this parade. You have to speak up. And I didn't have enough balls to speak up to my management team, like, what's going on? Like, where's these fights? I go out in these streets, people lobby and complaining with me, like I'm the one that's not fighting. Like, and I'm in the gym every day. I'm in the gym. I have to watch guys like Adrian Bronner, Javante Tank Davis, Austin Trout, Willie Monroe, Robert Easton, Jamil Herring, a variety of them come through my gym, learn some things from me. And not only do they get the chance to fight, they get a chance to fight for world championships. And I can't even fight. So just imagine you doing what you do best. You do what you do best, and somebody else is getting the credit for everything that you do. You don't even get to be seen or really be active on what you want to do. That's like imprisonment itself. That's why when I do my interviews, I say I'm out of prison now because I was really in prison. It had to, and let me tell you this. I've never shied away from boxing. I've never felt like oh, this is it for me. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Or you never see me out of shape. You never see me drunk in a club. You never see me fathering the kids. You never see me doing anything that's outside of boxing. That's why it was kind of hard to sell me because I'm like an Andre Ward. I'm a blue collar person. I'm not with the wild antics and I kill you. I do this. I do that. So it's hard to sell me. So like I said, a lot of people was like, I'll pass. And to get to your question, you asked why Lamont was getting those fights. When Lamont was training, nobody in Lamont weight class was training with him.
Right.
See, when I was training, I had Adrian Bronner, Javante Tank Davis, Jamil Herring, Robert Easton. All these guys was in the same weight class. So when the name come up, you got to fight Peterson. They seen how hard I work. They seen how dedicated I am. And they're like, nah, we good. Like that's not what we want. And plus, it's like. Not saying that they were ducking me, but that's a bad business move. If you're a manager or promoter and you handling them, it's the risk of fighting me is very high, but the reward is very low. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like you're about to fight a Pacquiao and you get a lucrative big amount of money. When you fight Peterson, you're not gonna get no money, and it's a strong possibility you're gonna get embarrassed in that ring. So it's like, what do we do now? We leave him alone. We know how hard he worked. We know how dedicated he is to his craft and to his body and to his spirit and all that. We know these things. So stay away from him.
So how does that change now? Because although you've got great management behind you now, won't these fighters still want to avoid you? They're still well aware of how good you are.
Well, see, now this is where it gets a little complicated. Now that I have Rick Ross, now that I have, people that's backing me that can get me these fights, I truly believe it's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen as easy as I know because now I'm coming into the game. Now I'm both. I'm southpaw, orthodox, whatever you want to call it. I have no stance. So now this is even more detrimental to whoever they're going to put me up against when it comes to boxing.
I wanted to ask you. There was a positive drug test a few years ago. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to tell your side of that story because there isn't much about it out there.
Yeah, I tested positive for marijuana. When they made it legal, I thought it was legal. I thought they stopped testing for it.
I
really
what you mean.
Thought that. And I'm like, because I passed all my drug tests that I ever had. Like I've smoked marijuana since I was 7 years old. I never failed a drug test a day in my life. But when they was like, it's legal now, so I'm like, okay, it's legal. And then, like I said, I didn't even know that I was going to fight. It was January the 20th of 2018, Lamont for Earl Spence.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was fighting until 10 days before that fight. They like, Anthony, you fighting on Lamont card, Earl Spence. So I'm like, okay. And I didn't even think about okay, I got to clean my urine because, I've been smoking marijuana, just to let these days go past because trust me, if it wasn't for that, I would have been blew my goddamn brains out Kurt Cobain style because the stress, the trauma, just watching these guys come to my gym. They're not even from around here. They getting all this fucking respect and all this props and attention, and I can't get nothing. And this is my city. April 1st, 2016 was the worst boxing card that I ever fought on here in my hometown. Did you hear that? Washington, D.C. April the 1st, 2016 was the worst boxing card that I ever been on in my hometown. They treated me like I was an out-of-town duck.
Wow.
They didn't have my boxing gloves ready for me. They brought me my fucking boxing gloves that I asked for after I fought. They brought me to the arena too early, couldn't eat. My coach was at the time was Barry Hunter, an amateur coach, wrapped my hands. An amateur coach that I had no experience with, wrapped my hands. These things are very important that people don't understand, that just go over their head like, oh yeah, you be all right, you're a fighter. No, you're not. You have to have a chemistry with your coach. You have to have a chemistry with your dietitianist, your nutritionist, your personal trainer. All these guys have to be in sync with each other. That's why Lomachenko called himself high tech. He not calling himself high tech. It's his team that's high tech. Dietitianists, nutritionists, they have a great relationship. Personal trainer and all of them, they have a great relationship because they need to know what to do and what to take out and what to put in when it comes to Lomachenko. So a lot of things on that behalf, man, is just lacking on all avenues, man. Like, and I just can't wait to show the true Anthony Peterson of what I'm capable of and what I can do.
And when you get back up to title class, will that be a 140 or 135?
Depending on how this dietitianist and nutritionist work, which I never had in my life, we could possibly make lightweight.
Wow.
That's for sure.
With that in mind, there's obviously a huge fight at lightweight for all the belts next week between George Kambosos and Devin Haney. How do you kind of weigh that one up?
I've been in there with Devin Haney in November. I was actually sparring him for Jojo Diaz. Though I'm not a true southpaw, but I went up there and gave him work because I felt like that was a good opportunity to put my name back out there. You know, regardless of how I look, I felt like just being there with Devin Haney and taking pictures and putting on social media will put my career to the next stage, and that's what it did. And his whole team, though, his whole squad is the reason why he is who he is. I watched him spar. You watch NASCARs when somebody car break down, how they rush and break the tires down and break. When he spar, they take his headgear off, they rub his legs, they replenish him. It's like he got the top-notch equipment, top-notch technology, the top-notch training, everything. So I truly believe being up there with him for those 7 days, which was presented to me by Serafina. Serafina hooked that up for me, and I went up there through the sprint for her, and she paid for everything. She made sure that I was good, I was comfortable, and she made sure I was right.
And do you think he can go over to Australia, his opponent's backyard, and pull it off?
Strong possibility, but I feel like it can be done. And just his mindset, he's a real champion already. Because if you take that mindset that he got to go overseas without his daddy, without his handlers, 14,000 miles, I think it is, 1,400 miles away, something like that. And you can see there's no budge in him. You know when fighters faking it, when fighters are not. You can kind of see, you can see like he's for real. He's not playing like just to do this just because, oh, I competed for the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. He really think he's going to win. He really believed that he believed in himself, and you can see it.
What did the sparring with him? I know it had a great impact on your profile, but what did it tell you about where you can get back to at world level? Because you're in there with one of the best two lightweights in the world. I
mean, pretty much it's like, of course, they was like, man, stay on your orthodox side because I'm just really learning the southpaw. I don't. Now, see, it's levels to this. Somebody on a lower level than Devin, I can execute all day with the southpaw, but he is a different level. We talking 3 weeks away from fighting for the WBC championship of the world. He's in tip-top condition. He's not going for anything right now. So me going over there handling myself on the southpaw side, I thought that was very outstanding.
Wow. So not too far away in your view, certainly in terms of ability from that world level again.
Yes, for sure. And I seen it hand in hand, like, I'm better than these guys. I'm better than these guys. Like, I just need the opportunity and that push behind me, which I never had. I never had promotion. It was times where I will be walking to a shoe city or a regular store. I was 25-0. I will watch amateurs who ain't even pro yet on posters, counters, bus stop stations. I'm like, I fought on ESPN, HBO versus all the network you can think of. Handsome kid, very polite spoken, never gonna give you problems. What the hell is going on? I'm baffled. Like, what is y'all don't like me? What is the problem? But now I see. And now, like I said, I got so much promotion. I got so much advertisement. I got so much management. I got so much advisory. I got so much coaching. So many people are behind me right now. Within the last 6 months, it is outstanding. You know what they say? Be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. Because I'm definitely getting it.
And before I let you go, I think there's a lot of other people that want to get behind you and support you as well. How can they find you on the different social media platforms?
They can find me on Instagram, Peterson Anthony 808. I chose the word 80. I chose the numbers 808 because it's internal. It don't have an outlet. You look at the 8 is internal. 0 is internal. 8 is internal. 808. August the 8th is my favorite day of the year because it represents the internal infinity. And you can follow me on Instagram, Peterson Anthony, and Facebook, Anthony Peterson.
Brilliant. Really, really appreciate it. Best of luck for Saturday night. And yeah, we look forward to doing this again.
All right, my man. Appreciate you.